We're in the last few weeks here before the big Meta Connect event where they usually reveal any new hardware, VR headsets, Quest lineup for the year. And some interesting rumors are being circulated around, one of which I feel like may be substantiated by something we just received. So although some of you out there probably look at us as insiders in the VR industry that might have any extra information, beyond everything I've talked about here in the news videos, I can genuinely say I have not signed or seen anything that has anything to do with the Quest 3S. I did get a package just this last week from Meta, and I didn't know what it was. I excitedly opening it, thinking it might have been something new, and it was a bunch of Quest 3 accessories.
Gotta be kidding me.
The ones that I didn't get in the beginning with the Quest 3, so like they sent me the blue head strap and now I got the orange one. They sent me the Elite strap, but now they sent me the battery strap. Hand straps for the Quest 3 style controllers. And that got me thinking, why would they go through all the trouble of sending that a year late unless some, if not all of these, were going to work on the Quest 3S? This was an idea that was actually brought up to me by Assassin32 when we were talking in a podcast about it. And the more I think about, the more it makes sense. As we look at the renders of the Quest 3S, it looks like the head strap on it actually has a hole missing from where a Quest 3 style head strap would have had a hole for the auxiliary port, although it looks like that port is now missing on the Quest 3S. In the past, it seems like with Quest headsets and Rift headsets, accessories were never really pulled forward even when it seemed like they should have been able to be easily. So my hope in that anything Quest 3 was going to work on 3S was completely gone, but it does feel like maybe these are clues as to why they would send this stuff now, and how in the renders it does look like there's spots missing that would make no sense for a Quest 3S that would essentially allow some accessories to work. And as we've also seen, it looks like the Quest 3 exact controllers are the controllers for the 3S. So for sure, at least those hand straps they sent me could work on a new 3S if they're sending one. Some other rumors that people have brought up, like VR with Jasmine, discussing how Batman, the new Batman game, keeps just saying October. We haven't gotten an exact date, but we also don't have an exact date of when this Quest 3S would launch. If it follows what history usually does, at Connect they announce you can buy this now, but it won't show up for 2 to 3 weeks. And with that timeline, that would put us kind of mid-October for the 3S, and especially if they're planning on bundling Batman with the 3S like they did Asgard's Wrath with the 3. Again, keep in mind this is all speculation. None of this is proven. Even the 3S itself still is not legitimately verified by Meta as something that's even coming, even though we've seen what feels like millions of leaks by now about it. But I just thought I'd bring up these points because it does kind of seem like maybe there is something to follow here. But that's where I ask you, what do you think? Do you think this might be the first time we see a Quest lineup actually use the same accessories as another Quest headset? Since it is a 3 versus a 3S, would it make a lot of sense that they make sure that all of their accessories already work and then they don't have to redesign them? And especially if the 3S is meant to be a light version of the 3, they're not anticipating people are going to replace their 3 with it. It doesn't mean they would be cannibalizing their own sales, because 3S owners would be coming from a Quest 2 or no headset and they would still have to buy all these accessories at that point. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't been following much about Hitman 3 VR, there was basically a redesign. People were really excited. They were bringing Hitman 3 over to the Quest line and kind of getting a do-over, because when they tried to do this with PSVR 1, it didn't look great. The controls were really weird with the DualShock controller, and now people are excited for a full redesign with the Quest 3. Well, the game just launched to very, very rough reviews. The game is currently being review bombed a little bit. It started up in the high 3-star range. We saw it get as low as a 2.5 star, and it's now back up to a 2.8 star. It seems like the very first review on it was actually from Beardo Benjo, a YouTuber you probably know, and a fair review talking about how the game looks really rough, but that if you do play it enough, you do get back into the Hitman spirit, and the core gameplay really is mostly intact here, and pointing out that really it probably needed the date to be pushed back into next year. And then if you look through the other reviews, some people saying that it's Hitman and they're fine with that, other people saying it's absolutely terrible, 1 star, but a lot of people saying it's bad, but some people saying it's still fun and that the reviews are overly dramatic. But you can see from the different news publications here, everyone echoing the same thing. It's bad, it's worse than PSVR, it needs more time, and people even saying in the reviews that they are supposed to be updating the graphics. It just brings me back to this question again and again in VR. Why do we keep getting these undercooked games? Are they so set on a launch date that they just can't spend any more time on it, and they launch it with these graphical issues and then hope patching it will fix it after the fact? The companies have to know that these bad early reviews are going to affect them even if they try to turn it around. And a lot of those stories aren't as successful as like No Man's Sky, where it started out, people were really upset with it, and over time they really changed it. A lot of these games are dead on arrival if they start out with really bad reviews on day one. It's frustrating for me to see this happen with another huge title, but at this point, if you've been in VR as long as I have, it kind of feels like with the big IPs, you expect this. You expect that they're going to bring out some game that's not going to be right day one, and patches are going to help it get better later. Or a lot of times it's the indie developers, the ones that came up through VR, that drop the best products on day one that don't need all these patches. It's frustrating to me, and I'm hoping we're not going to see the same cycle with the other big IPs we're seeing coming this year. Batman, Alien, Behemoth. At least some of the demos I've gotten to try on some of those seem like they're much more fully cooked, although as they have some of us trying them on PSVR 2 instead of Quest, it does make you worry about what's going to happen to the Quest version that comes out. If you got Hitman 3, how are you feeling about it? Did you get past the graphics and did you actually enjoy the game? Are you holding out for a patch, or do you think some of this is overblown? Let me know. The Pico 4 Ultra is out there in the wild. If you're not familiar, Pico is a Chinese headset manufacturer that has been kind of banned from being in the US due to it being owned by ByteDance, the owner of TikTok. Their headsets are somewhat popular in Europe and especially popular in China, where the Quest still has had a hard time getting into that market. The new Pico 4 Ultra is out. Leading up to its launch, a lot of people thought this was going to be a Quest 3 killer, and now people are saying, sadly, it is still not quite as good as the Quest 3 to them. People saying that it has clear, nicer looking pass-through, but ultimately the pass-through is flat, doesn't feel as three-dimensional. People saying it feels just like the Pico 4 did as far as ergonomics and comfort, which wasn't bad, but ultimately more improvements could have made it feel better, and that there is some cool motion trackers that are going to bring foot tracking to it as well. We were given a Pico 4, and I will say some of the comfort accessories we got from other companies did make it more comfortable. The Bobo head strap helped it be better balanced, but it is a headset that comes through feeling a little bit more finished, or when you get a Quest 3, that head strap that's included with it just feels like it needs to be instantly replaced, although a lot of people run with that head strap forever. We haven't been invited to anything Pico, and I haven't heard if we're going to get a Pico sent at all to us. Right now they focus mostly on EU VR YouTubers, of course anyone in Asia, as it can be more complicated to get the headset here, and they don't even really want to promote it here if people aren't going to be able to use it. But it feels like ultimately another headset that's not going to have a big impact on the market here. If you're someone who's actually trying to get one of these where you're at, are you excited about it? Do you think it might replace your Quest 3? If you've stuck with the channel for a while, you know one of my favorite games over the last few years was Into the Radius. Laid through the whole thing on Quest, loved every minute of it. Now we're actually approaching Into the Radius 2 coming out, and they just randomly sent us an email with a discount code in case you decide that Into the Radius is something you want. This code won't be active till Monday, so either bookmark this video, save it, or take down the code and save it somewhere if you are interested in getting this. But basically from September 9th through 30th, there will be, weirdly, it's a 37% discount code for the purchase of it, which is pretty big. In the email they said, feel free to share this with someone who hasn't bought the game or put it in one of your videos. I'm personally really excited about Into the Radius 2. I haven't decided whether I want to try to play it on PSVR 2 as it's already going to be launching there soon. Some people have been playing it in beta on PC already, or if I want to hold out for the actual Quest version. But they basically tied this to the fact that the original Into the Radius is reaching its 2-year anniversary tomorrow on the Quest. So hang on to that code if it's going to mean something for you. Into the Radius is an awesome but very brutal survival shooter. It was a bit tedious, but I sometimes like tedious mechanics in survival games, so keep that in mind if you're thinking about getting it when it comes out. If you're not into that, it might not be for you, but I had a blast playing it and I'm really excited to play through number 2. We talk about Meta Quest Plus, it seems like every month, because you do get additional games if you're signed up for the subscription every month. Quest Plus is basically a subscription-based service that gives you 2 new games every month, but also a back catalog to a bunch of the older games and other games on the headset. And the 2 games that aren't necessarily brand new games either. So I've said before, if you're new to the Quest, it might be worth your time, but if you're like me, you've been around a while, you might already own a bunch of these games. It might not be worth paying for. But basically for September, we've got Zero Caliber and We Are One being added, but also Synth Riders and Arizona Sunshine being added to the catalog as well. We Are One is actually like one of the highest rated games, and Zero Caliber, it is the first one, not the sequel that just dropped. Exciting titles to see show up. So yeah, if you're interested in Quest Plus, search it up, check it out, decide if you want it for yourself. But for those of you who do have it, let us know in the comments down below, do you think it's worth it for other people who are on the fence about it? We're a little over 2 weeks away from MetaConnect, but we're less than 2 weeks away from HTC revealing a new VR headset of theirs. HTC was one of the biggest founders in the VR space, with the original HTC Vive being considered the top headset for years. Kind of fell off. Every headset since then has never made as big of a splash, been as popular, and a lot of them have been extremely expensive. But basically, HTC Vive dropped a video called A Vision for You. It's just a little over a minute long, not really telling us anything about this new headset, but showing how HTC has been used in all kinds of places, from gaming to the enterprise world to the space station. But rumors have said that this is probably another headset that's still not a consumer product, like most of theirs have not been for consumers for a while now. It would be a premium XR chipset, so the XR2 Plus Gen 2, putting it slightly ahead of the Quest chipset, with a 20% faster CPU and a 15% faster GPU than what's in the Quest 3. And news sites pointing out this headset could either be a Vive Focus 4, an XR Elite 2, or maybe something entirely different. Hopefully we'll be learning more about this in the coming weeks as this approaches, but when the announcement comes, we'll update you on what it actually is and whether it looks like something that consumers will be interested in or if they're still just going to continue to focus on enterprise. Monkeys do seem to be taking over the VR world one free game at a time. No matter how bad they are, they get thousands and thousands of reviews. And now Asgard's Wrath 2 has kicked off an event. It's a cosmic event, and you can see it's all about monkeying around. But you can complete 8 challenges to earn unique weapons, armor sets, cosmetic rewards, and even some heroic monkey weapons. Seems like a pretty light-hearted event to have happen in a game as serious as Asgard's Wrath 2. But if you're still playing Asgard's Wrath 2 at this point, do these events excite you? Do they actually get you back into the game playing it more? And how do you feel about the monkeyification of VR lately? It's not a word, but maybe we'll make it one. Beat Saber did what they call a shock drop, so a surprising drop of a track none of us really knew was coming, with Eminem's Houdini, an uncensored track actually being added to the Quest store. And once again, all platforms except Meta Quest 1, as we keep seeing that drop off further and further. People on Reddit debating whether shock drop means that it's a surprising track they dropped that's not part of a music pack, or if shock means it's offensive tracks. Me personally, if I play songs on Beat Saber or even Supernatural, I prefer them to not be censored. I just feel like the original tracks always flow better rather than when they try to censor them. So I like that they drop the tracks this way and then have the option if you want to toggle censorship or not in the settings. But I know for most people with playing Beat Saber, if you're doing custom songs, you've probably already played many maps of this by now. We always do our best to keep you updated on everything VR in the realm and the news, but right now MetaConnect is only weeks away, and it means a lot of it's probably going to go a little quiet as people are holding out big announcements for MetaConnect. Be prepared for hopefully a new headset announcement, maybe something about more AR glasses, and probably a lot of games that are being held onto until that time. We're about to be traveling again. I know I just got back from Germany, thanks to all of you and your support, but I've got a big VR event happening in Florida leading right into MetaConnect. We're going to do our best to stay on top of daily uploads for you still, whether some of them are shorts, but we'll keep you updated on the news, the games list, the reviews, everything we always do for you. And like last year, I will probably be live at the keynote in person at MetaConnect, but we'll find out some way to stream it for you so you can still be here watching the news announcements live, discussing them together with us, because we love doing that with all of you. So thank you once again for your years of support now, being here with the channel. I really appreciate all of you, and I'll see you in another reality.